Hi everyone, it's Anna from the Salon Life here. So this video will be a little different. First, because you can hear me, I finally figured out how to do voiceover. I hope it works. And secondly, this video is not a typical like a watch me work video that I normally film, but it's a combination of 3 videos. And I filmed it because I'm coming up with some pretty interesting and I guess controversial theories regarding the nail surface damage and what really can cause it. So I will share that with you a little later. So this is a long and detailed video. So yeah, just sit down and have a cup of coffee or wine or something and watch it on your computer because it's recorded in high definition and I'm not sure if you can watch high definition on the phone. The video does get better. So just kind of bear with me. So I decided to film this video, first of all, not to kind of poo-poo on shellac or advertise other brands, and I'm not affiliated with any, but to maybe share some light on the subject and maybe we can create some solutions here. So the first video was filmed back in February, the one that you just watched. Shellac was used and I soaked it off. I soaked it for 10 minutes. And you can see how easy the removal was, and I didn't do any scraping. And you could see that the product really popped off. So the second one was 2 weeks later, this video right now, the red one. It was filmed 2 weeks later. The client is a regular client. And I will provide the link to the full video below. And again, you can see how easy the removal is. And I'm really not putting absolutely any pressure on the tool that I'm using, and I'm wiping the rest with acetone. So I'm gonna let you watch this part. And I'm gonna watch this with you. So yeah, you can see how the areas in the middle are most affected. And at first, the white spots don't show up, but I guess when the remover evaporates, that's when you can see them pop. Yeah, so here you can see when I did the manicure, how the nails looked. And you can see that they're not overfiled, it's just that those white spots and the damage. So, okay, so this is 3 months later, this is now. I filmed this a couple days ago, and yeah, you can see how much better the nails are. So, yeah, I'm gonna explain everything when you watch the original removal of the red manicure. Yeah, you can see how, you see how the product came off very easily from the second thumb and not so easy from the other thumb, yet the other thumb has no damage. So it's almost like the product, I don't know, just comes off easier from those nails that are damaged. And the strange thing is, I mean, there's two things that we're seeing here. We're seeing the white spots and we're seeing the uneven texture maybe, but we're not seeing overfiled nails or anything. And the interesting thing is that I sometimes, actually this particular client came from another salon, that was last year, and she had, her nails were quite thinner, they were damaged, you could tell that they were overfiled, yet I didn't see any white spots. So that part is strange, and those typical kind of white spots I see more with shellac, and I see that more with even a regular nail polish on the toes. I'll get back to that nail polish situation later. I use a fine sanding band to shorten the nails. It's just easier on my arm. I had a major issue with my shoulder a couple years ago. It's, see how this pinky is just like, it doesn't have any white spots. So the person peeled it off and doesn't have any white spots. Anyway, I had major issue with my shoulder, with my right shoulder a couple years ago. It's just getting better now, but I really appreciated the fact that I was able to use the electric file because I could not file the nails. That movement would just absolutely kill my shoulder. So like now shape filing was easier because you're not really putting a lot of pressure. I guess you're not really tensing up your shoulder as much. You can see that the file is quite loose when I file. But when you have to shorten nails, especially that are longer, oh my God, that was very painful. So yeah, I appreciated the fact that I was able to use electric file. The file that I'm using here, it's a medium file from Erica, and I think the next batch that I will buy will be the fine ones, because the medium files are a little too rough. I like when they are used a little bit, they become a little finer, but at first you really have to be careful because they are kind of sharp, and the edges are sharp as well. So when you get a new file, make sure that you take the edges off, because you can cut someone with the edge. But yeah, once they're worn a little bit, they're absolutely amazing because they're quite thin and they get into the sidewalls really nicely. They fit there and they're not bulky, and these ones are quite they're not flexible, so they don't flex when you file, so they feel very sturdy. I have probably, I don't know, 10 of them altogether, and I started using them when I did a lot of gels just for the sidewall shaping, and then I would use the electric file to shape the surface, and then some finish filing, well actually finish buffing I would do at the end. But these ones are great. They last a very long time. So I would use the newer ones for gel, and then I would use the older ones that are worn out a little bit for natural nails. And in a minute you'll see me use the electric file. So the bit that I use to remove the cuticle is a fine barrel bit, but here I'm going to push back. The proximal nail fold. And the eponychium, we called it eponychium for a short while, is the actual underneath part. So it's underneath the proximal nail fold. And eponychium is what sheds cuticle. So you have kind of two pieces of skin on your nail. You have the proximal nail fold, and then you have cuticle that is sitting in between that skin and the nail, and it seals the nail, so it prevents the bacteria from entering the area. So I push back the proximal nail fold gently, and then I expose the cuticle. And the thing is, with electric file, I've taught nails for a very long time, and I noticed one thing, that people that hand file have actually much heavier hand. When people switched from hand filing to e-filing, they really have to develop much lighter touch. And I would keep telling them that the e-file does the work for you, so you don't have to press. All you have to do is like tap or touch the area. Don't press down. So you have to develop super light touch. And I generally find that people that come in for regular appointments, the skin around their nails is much better. And that's what I explain to clients, that manicure is a progress, and how the nails look, it just takes time. So I don't want them to expect perfection after one appointment. It's almost like, you don't expect miracles after you go for one facial. You go for a facial to, get advice, to even buy some good products for your skin, to know how to take care of your skin and to maintain it. And the facial is just a boost. And it's the same thing what we do during a manicure. We help the client, but we can't do all the work for them. So they have to understand that they need to do some maintenance at home, and that the results will come with regular manicures. And honestly, if someone is interested, comes in with super rough skin, super damaged nails, and just kind of a disaster, and they expect me to perform a miracle in 20 minutes, I can't do that. I just tell them honestly, like, I'm not going to be performing surgery here. I'm not going to be cutting your skin. The skin will get better. It will look better if you maintain it, if you use a good treatment oil, if you stop picking, if they do pick. It just takes time. So yeah, that's how I finished. That's how the nails looked after the shellac wear. So now this, I switched this client to exclusive nail couture, and I switched her actually after she came back with no product on her nails. So I applied the e-nail couture, and she actually wore it for 3 weeks because she rebooked 2 weeks later, and then she had to cancel. So I ended up seeing her 3 weeks later, and by then I was she sounded a little frustrated on the phone, just generally with, you know, her life and everything else. So I thought, okay, for sure she doesn't have any product on her nails. And I was expecting to see, you know, some damage, but it was funny actually. So she came in 3 weeks later, and I took the product off, and the product was perfect. And the nails were actually in a very good condition underneath. So that was very interesting. So this was the second time when I used the product. I'm going to speed up the video a little bit here so you don't have to see me watch the foil application. But yeah, so when she came back again for the 2-week removal, I was like, okay, I have to make sure that I filmed this one and compare it to the previous videos and see if we can see something to give me a clue why this is happening, but I don't know. So anyway, I removed the top coat because this product does not remove as easy as shellac, and I wrapped her hands in the towel, and then I just put a heating pad for 10 minutes. And you will see the removal here. So it's flaking off nicely, but it doesn't come off as easy as shellac does. This one popped off actually nicely, but underneath you see absolutely no damage. So yeah, what the heck, right? So, you know, usually when we see this type of damage, right away people say, oh yeah, it's the nail technician, it's the scraping, and because the nails are wet, they're, you know, they have been soaking in remover for 10 minutes, and when you are scraping the product off, you might be damaging the nails. And I just honestly don't feel that that's the case. This nail has a little, you can see here, a huge flake. It's in her natural nail, so I think she was just, I don't know, that nail usually gets most kind of damage because it's the longest nail, and people sometimes when they're cleaning counters or things like that, they hit things. So usually when you see kind of breaks and some trauma, it's to the thumbs and the longest finger. But anyway, so yeah, so normally when you see a damage, like from the previous removals, you right away think that it's us overfiling the nails, it's us buffing the nails, and we usually get blamed for that. You know, how does the saying go? It's not the product, it's the nail technician. And yeah, I've seen a lot of damage caused by nail techs, trust me. A lot of people overfile, a lot of people are heavy-handed. But sadly, our industry is kind of like black and white. It's either, you know, we are to blame for the damage. Tools don't even get blamed because it's not the tools, it's the fools. So we get the blame or the client, because it's either one or the other. Because often we blame the clients. We say, oh, they're being, you know, they're not treating their nails right and all that. Or, you know, the client's actual nails are blamed, that, you know, some people's nails are weaker, so they just maybe can't handle the product. And in these videos, you can clearly see it's not the client's nails, it's something else. So I guess there is a gray area to all this. I think, well, the product manufacturers say always that the products cannot damage the nails, and I honestly think they can. The products can damage the nails. Well, kind of, let's be precise. I think it's how you put it. So it's like saying that pizza can't make you fat. Well, no, it can't, unless you eat it, or at least you eat too much of it, or if you have a slow metabolism or something. So yeah, pizza can't make you fat, but we all know that, you know, eating too much fat can cause obesity. So when I sometimes see nail techs showing a picture of, you know, 1 or 2 or even 3 clients with perfect nails after removal, they're like, oh, look, the products don't damage the nail. Okay, that's like, again, that skinny person eating pizza and saying, look, it's not the pizza, it's whatever, something else. Because yeah, I also have clients that don't have any damage, but that's just not everybody. And sometimes, like I mentioned before, we blame the clients for picking or for being hard on their nails. But, you know, sometimes I actually even see with shellac, with sometimes either colors or even hard gel or even liquid and powder, you see some air pockets. And now the question could be, okay, are we under curing, or the ratio is too wet? But I think sometimes it's just the, you know, wear and tear, because once we remove the product, so the product is still there, so the client did not pick, and the product, you know, when it comes off, you can see a huge, you know, damage underneath that area. So now, I don't know, who do we blame for that? Yeah, we can't blame the product, but we can say that wearing this product caused the damage. That's all I'm trying to say. Because you will never see that damage unless you wear the product. Like, I don't see anybody with any type of surface damage on their toes when they're not wearing polish. And also, you know, other people say, I get that a lot, that it must be the soaking off, that the acetone is drying the nails, and, you know, it's just all evil, and that's why we should be filing off the product, because they don't see the white spots when they file off the product. Well, if I took the file to the surface of those white spots, I could buff it off very, very easy. So I think when people file off the product all the way down to the natural nail, they end up filing off those white spots without even realizing that there is a white spot. And also sometimes I think that the white spots show up and they become white spots because the acetone dries out temporarily that area. So if there was no acetone, that white spot would be filled with moisture and not as visible. That's why when we first pull off the acetone or the pad with the product, with the remover, you don't see the white spot, and because the product, the remover, the solvent evaporates so quickly, they show up very quickly. And, you know, to even prove that, just try it yourself. Like, just find someone who doesn't wear any product on their nails and just take their nail, or 2 or 3, and wrap them with acetone, even pure acetone, and for 10 minutes every 2 weeks for a couple months, 3 months, and you won't see any damage. You might see a little white skin, which is a temporary dehydration, but you won't see the white spots, and you won't see the texture, and the nails won't be as porous. So it's not the acetone. So when it comes to shellac and the damage, again, I'm not just blaming shellac because some other products do it as well, but sadly that happens the most, I find, with shellac, and I have no idea why. Like, it does happen with the nail polish as well on the toes, and I'm just thinking, is it because shellac is like very close to nail polish? I have no idea. And what I've noticed is that, so people that are experiencing the damage, I then switch them to another product, another brand, and the results are sometimes so-so. They don't, the white spots don't necessarily go away very quickly. But the people that take the product off and don't have anything on their nails, like, I hate to say it, but kind of give their nails a break for a week or 2, and then I apply another product, I'm finding that then I'm seeing a much bigger difference. So I have no idea why that happened. But, I've noticed that. So here I just filed out that big clump. Speaking of IBX, because I just can hear some people like, oh, you should have done IBX on this nail and sealed the layers and all that. And to be honest, I like IBX, and I use it, but I don't use it as much as I used to because I'm just not seeing continuous improvement with some people. So I used it on the clients that had the white spots, actually particularly on this client as well, with shellac, and she didn't get an improvement. So I used it once, twice, 3 times, and nothing is growing out. I don't see any improvement, so I just kind of gave up, to be honest. And when I see the biggest difference with IBX is when people have some, you know, slight surface damage on their nails, and they decide to not wear gel polish anymore. For those people, I do recommend the IBX, and I tell them that I recommend doing it right after, and then I recommend them coming back a week or 2 later and giving them another treatment, and that really, really helps. And it kind of seals in everything. But when it comes to using it before gel polish application, I know some people are having good results, but personally I just didn't. Like, yes, the nails look so much better right after, and then I apply the gel polish again, and then when I do a soak off, we're back to square one. Like, I don't really see any improvements. And I actually did this test on a client where I just used it on one of her, like one hand, and the other one I did it for 3-4 times, and guys, seriously, no difference between one and the other hand. So with that particular client, what made the biggest difference is actually she was going away somewhere for a month, and she didn't have it. So we just took the product off. We did a couple IBX treatments, and then she was gone for a month with no product on her nails. And now she came back. We're using another brand, and her nails were damaged. I'm actually I can post a link to the video of her manicure, because I actually tried even the IBX, not IBX Repair, the Boost, right? IBX Boost I tried on her, and it didn't make her polish wear any better or anything. So yeah, I tried that with her, and having the product off for a month during the IBX initially, and now she's back. We're doing her regular manicures, and her nails are so much better. So that's where I'm seeing a little bit of a correlation. So what are my conclusions? I don't know. But I can tell you one thing. I changed my tune with clients. When I have clients that are very concerned with the condition of their natural nails, wanting me to promise that my manicures are not gonna damage their nails, I tell them honestly that I can't promise that. I do tell them that product wear can affect the surface. I tell them that a lot depends on how they wear the product and what their nails naturally are. Some nails are just more resilient than others, and I can't tell by looking. So this goes for gel polish, hard to gel, liquid and powder, and even regular polish. Another thing I can tell them is that majority of my clients do well. I can promise that they won't experience overfiled nails, but if they are hoping for virgin nails after wearing any type of product on their nails for some time, I can't guarantee that their nails are gonna be, virgin nails. And I feel that that is the truth. So thank you so much for watching, and let me know what you think. Comment on the video, share the video if you can, and I hope this will create some good discussions. I hope this video did not come across as me bashing companies, because that's not my intent whatsoever. It's just I'm hoping that this will create, again, good discussion, and maybe we can come to some helpful conclusions. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.